My vagina is a shell, a round, pink, tender shell, opening and closing and closing and opening. My vagina is a flower, an eccentric tulip, its center acute and deep, its scent delicate, its petals gentle yet sturdy. I did not always know this. I learned this in the Vagina Workshop. I learned this from the woman who runs the Vagina Workshop, a woman who believes in vaginas, a woman who really sees vaginas, a woman who helps other women see their own vaginas by seeing other women's vaginas. In the first session, we were asked to draw a picture of our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vagina. That's what she called it. She wanted to know what our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vagina looked like to us. One woman who was pregnant drew a big red mouth, screaming with coins spilling out of it. Another very skinny woman drew a big serving plate with a kind of Devonshire pattern on it. I drew a big black dot with little squiggly lines around it. The black dot was equal to a black hole in space, and the squiggly lines were meant to be people or things or just your basic atoms that got lost there. I'd always thought of my vagina as an anatomical vacuum randomly sucking up particles of the surrounding environment. I did not think of my vagina in practical or biological terms. I did not, for example, see it as something attached to me. In the workshop, we were asked to look at our vaginas with hand mirrors. Then, after careful examination, we were to verbally report back to the group what we saw. I must tell you that up until this point, everything I knew about my vagina was based on hearsay or invention. I had never actually seen the thing. It never occurred to me to look at it. It seemed so reductive and awkward looking at it as we were, the group of us women on our backs on our mats in the workshop with our hand mirrors. It reminded me of how the early astronomers must have felt with their primitive telescopes. I found it quite unsettling at first, my vagina. Sort of like when you see a fish cut open for the first time and you discover this other bloody complex world inside, right under the skin. It was so raw, so red, so fresh. And the thing that surprised me most was all the layers. Layers, inside layers, opening into more layers. My vagina amazed me. It did. It left me speechless. I could not speak when it came my turn in the workshop. I had awakened to what the woman who ran the workshop called vaginal wonder. I just wanted to lay on my mat, on my back with my legs spread, examining my vagina forever. It was better than the Grand Canyon, ancient and full of grace. It had the innocence and freshness of a proper English garden. And it was funny, very funny. My vagina made me laugh. It could hide and seek and open and close. Then, the woman who ran the workshop asked how many women in the workshop had had orgasms. 2 women tentatively raised their hands. I didn't raise my hand, although I had had orgasms. I didn't raise my hand because they were accidental orgasms. They happened to me. They happened in my dreams. and I would wake in splendor. They happened mostly in water, many times in the bath, once in Cape Cod. They happened on horseback, on bicycles, sometimes on the treadmill at the gym. I didn't raise my hand because although I'd had orgasms, I didn't know how to make one happen. I didn't want to interfere. It felt wrong getting involved, contrived, manipulative. It felt Hollywood. Besides, the mystery would be gone and the magic. The problem, of course, was that the mystery had been gone for 2 years now. I hadn't had a magical surprise accidental orgasm in quite a long time, and I was frantic. That's why I was in the Vagina Workshop. And then the moment had arrived that I both dreaded and longed for. The woman who ran the workshop asked us to take out our hand mirrors again to see if we could locate our clitoris. There we were, the group of us women, on our backs, on our mats, searching for our spots, our locus, our reason, and I don't know why, but I started crying. Maybe it was sheer embarrassment. Maybe it was knowing that I had to give up the fantasy, the enormous, life-consuming fantasy that someone or something was going to do this for me. That someone was coming to lead my life, to choose direction, and to give me orgasms. I could feel the panic coming, the simultaneous terror and realization that I had avoided finding my clitoris, had rationalized it as mainstream and consumerist because I was, in fact, terrified that I did not have a clitoris. Terrified that I was one of those constitutionally incapables, one of those dry, frigid, dead, shut down, bitter, apricot tasting, oh my God. As I lay there on my mat with my eyes closed, reaching with my fingers, searching for my spot, all I could think about was the time I was 10 years old and I lost my gold ring with the emeralds in it in the lake. How I kept diving over and over again to the bottom of the lake and running my hands over fish and stones and bottle caps and slimy stuff, but never my ring, never my ring. The panic I felt, I knew I'd be punished. The woman who ran the workshop saw my insane scrambling, sweating, and heavy breathing. She came over. I told her, "It's gone. It's gone. I've lost my clitoris. I should never have worn it swimming." The woman who ran the workshop laughed. She calmly stroked my head. She told me that my clitoris was not something I could lose. It was me, she said, the essence of me. It was both the doorbell to the house and the house itself. I didn't have to find my clitoris. I had to be my clitoris. Be my clitoris. Be it. Be my clitoris. I lay back down, closed my eyes. I put the mirror down. I watched myself slowly floating above myself. I watched as I approached myself and slowly re-entered. I felt like an astronaut re-entering the surface of the earth. It was very quiet, this re-entry, quiet and gentle. I bounced and landed and bounced. I came into my own muscles and blood and cells, and then I slid into my vagina. It was suddenly easy, and I fit. I was all warm and pulsing and ready and young and alive, and then without looking, with my eyes still closed, I put my finger on what had suddenly become me. There was a little quivering at first, which urged me to stay. And the quivering became a quake, an eruption, the layers dividing and subdividing, and the quaking broke open onto an ancient horizon of light and silence, which opened onto a plane of music and innocence and longing, and I felt connection, calling connection, as I lay there thrashing about on my little blue mat. My vagina is a shell. It is a tulip. And it is a destiny. I am leaving just as I'm beginning to arrive. My vagina. My vagina. Me.